There we go.
Love the flag, Stephen.
Thanks. Felicia's got hers in the background, but because she can't see my background, I figured I'll just wave it around every now and then,
Do I also record from here, or Stu, you're recording?
Oh, no, so we're recording now. We've got a couple of people coming in that are watching and can see us and hear the screen now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You don't need to do any recording, Felicia.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah. All done from the one place, which is handy. And that's good. For those of us that have joined already, we've got a few in there. Welcome, welcome. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes. And once we have a few more people joined, 11 o'clock onwards, and we'll start.
It's asking me to continue recording or leave meeting.
Well, it's up to you, but we'd love it if you continued, Felicia, because we might need you throughout today.
So I'll continue.
Please.
Technology.
That's brilliant. Looks like we're streaming live on Facebook as well.
Oh, hi, Chrissy.
Hi, Chrissy. Yeah. We are all well. Thanks so much. Getting excited because the weather's not so good here in the UK at the moment, obviously. And I think we'll have some of our friends from the Irish market joining as well. We're going to think about down south instead and how amazing it's going to be down there. It's funny, I was talking to a contact in Cape Town the other day and they said it was really cold, 18 degrees. I think it's a top of 18 here today. And it's summer, go figure.
But it's hotter in Zimbabwe. It can be very cold in South Africa sometimes. Well,
Very true.
But it's winter in Southern Africa. Ours tend to get very cold in the mornings and evenings, and then very hot, humid during the day. So.
Still nice and warm during the day, isn't it? I think that's the main difference. That's the good thing about it. Gets a bit mild down in the Cape region, but apart from that, if you go up along the east coast of South Africa, and then of course a little bit further on, it's quite nice. Subtropical certainly helps the warmth of the water as well.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, we've got a few people coming in now. Once again, a good morning to those of you who have just joined us. We're just going to give it a little bit longer until we get underway, wait for a few more people to join, and then we're going to start with our fantastic extravaganza of South Africa, Zimbabwe, and tying it all in with G-Adventures today. And of course, I hope you're all ready and have your coffee. That's always important for this time of morning.
Yeah. I'm trying to stay healthy. I have water.
Nothing wrong with that. See, my morning snack is my apple, but this will come after the coffee. The coffee is still very important for me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, 11 o'clock, you need biscuits, tea and biscuits.
Oh, tea and biscuits, that's true.
Ooh,
Very British, very British. I love it.
11 is.
Tea and
That's what I do later on in the afternoon, you know, just a little pick me up there, a bit of a sugar hit.
A little bit of sugar.
Can't go wrong with that. Right, 38 participants so far. I think I might wait just a tiny bit longer till we get a few more people up there, and then we'll start having a bit of chat. Feel free to say hello for those of you that have just joined us in our chat box if you like. We're always happy to hear and see where people are saying hello from. So Chrissy's jumped on there already, saying hi from grey Blackheath, London. Don't worry, it's grey in West London as well. Hello from Chester. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for saying hello there. The Isle of Man, David, I'm jealous. It's sunny there. That sounds good to me. Preston's sunny. Geez, I tell you what, we've got to be up a little bit further north at the moment. Stu, you're up north. You're in Liverpool, aren't you? Is it nice and sunny where you are?
It is actually. I can see my garden next to me. It's got lovely sunshine in it. I'll go out there for lunch. Go out there for lunch after the webinar. I'll send you a picture just to rub it in.
We live in the south. That's the issue there.
I can't see much.
Right, folks. It looks like we've got quite a sizable amount of people jumping on now, which is really good. For those of you that have just joined us in the last couple of minutes, once again, a very good morning. I'll take this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Steve Balderston. I recognize a number of the names that have joined up already, which is good. So some of you I've had contact with prior, which is fantastic. Some of you I've actually taken on trips before. I see the lovely Annette from Travel Counsellors, morning from Dublin. Hi there, Annette. Hope everything's going well with you. So I'm the trade training specialist for South African tourism. I'm based in London, just like many other people working from home at the moment, not in the office, but I'll tell you what, my office doesn't normally look as good when I have the background off because it's the bedroom of my share flat in West London. So let's pretend that I'm out checking out the buffalo on safari today. I think that makes a little bit more sense, doesn't it? So as you can see here, South African Tourism, trade training specialist. I've been working for the South African Tourism Board for a number of years now, and I've been very fortunate to go on many trips down to the Rainbow Nation as well. And I'm here to talk a little bit about the country today. But of course, with me, there's Felicia and Stu. Felicia, if you'd like to introduce yourself next.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I'm Felicia Mujaidi, representing the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority in London. It's such an exciting time and day to be working together with South Africa Tourism Board and G Adventure. I won't waste much of your time, but stay put. There's a lot of exciting things coming. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I've no doubt come across you guys at some point in the past. I'm Stu, National Sales Manager at G Adventures, been here for 8 years. And when Steve reached out and said, let's do a webinar, I said, timing couldn't be better because we're going back to South Africa in July as one of our 170 trips that we're running in July. And we'll have our August list of what we're running later today as well. Of course, we've run about 150 trips now since the pandemic kind of started. So really exciting to be heading back to South Africa, not Zimbabwe yet, but coming very soon. So really excited to take you guys today through Southern Africa.
Looking forward to seeing those dots being connected between our two countries very shortly as well. I might just take this quick opportunity to give a brief overview with South Africa. I won't take up too much of everyone's time today, just simply because we're going to hear a lot more about it in depth when we talk about some of the amazing product from G Adventures later on. But firstly, if we just jump over to the next slide here very quickly, I want to play you all just a very quick video. Doesn't go for too long. And this is just talking briefly about South Africa, but of course, for the trade, for yourselves. We're always here to chat. We're always here to listen. And I'm going to post a couple of links today for those of you that haven't already communicated with us in the past, so you know how you can remain in contact with us. This is from a fantastic campaign that we did just a couple of years ago, just prior to the pandemic hitting. And it's all about meeting your South Africa. This will hopefully make you guys a little bit excited about heading either back down to the Rainbow Nation or checking it out for the first time as well, because the warmth of the people is what we like to think about most in the Rainbow Nation. So I'll pop that on now.
We want this country to be open to anyone.
Good evening, welcome.
Being South Africa to me means pride.
For me, paradise isn't overseas, it's over here.
Meet my South Africa.
That's Charles Nkumbe at the end there. He's such a fantastic guy, so passionate about Soweto. Just one of many townships, but certainly the largest in population within South Africa, that of course your clients can go down and visit once again, one day when we can all get down there again. I will talk very briefly about what the current rules and the current situation is in the country, but at the moment, let's just talk briefly about why South Africa? Why would your clients like to go down to there? Well, yes, we are a long haul destination, but it's a bit of a short haul field, because the good thing about Southern Africa in general, and this also means Zimbabwe, is the fact that it may be 11 to 12 hour direct flight. That's out of London, of course, but there's no time difference. Well, I lie. There's about a 2 hour time difference at this time of year and a 1 hour time difference, but there's no jet lag at all, which is fantastic. So you take an overnight flight there, and then your clients can hit the ground running as soon as they arrive, which is brilliant. So an 11 to 12 hour direct flight, which is brilliant. A world-class safari offering, just like Zimbabwe, of course. We have the big 5 game reserves all around, a number of very well-known national parks. You might have sent your clients down to South Africa before, to places in the Eastern Cape, perhaps after finishing up in the Garden Route, which is all completely malaria-free, or perhaps up to Kruger National Park, or even one of the private game reserves surrounding Kruger National Park as well, which we'll talk a bit about with Stu later on. When it comes to Kruger National Park, it is the largest national park in South Africa. And just a bit of a fun fact for us over here in the UK and also the Irish travel trade. Everyone knows about Wales, of course, one of the constituent countries of the UK. Let's put the size of Kruger National Park into perspective. It's about 22,000 square kilometres. That is about 8,000 square miles. And that is the same size as Wales. So it's a pretty big place indeed, folks. So if people ask about going into Kruger National Park, it is completely okay to ask them where they would like to go in Kruger National Park. Scenic beauty, that probably goes without saying, I dare say. Amazing food, which we'll see a very quick slide on soon. Even better wine. Now, for your clients, South African wine is quite popular here in the UK and the Irish market already, which is good. I go into Tesco and half of the shelves are filled with fantastic South African wine. If it's a red grape, I'm thinking of Pinotage, which is very distinctly South African. If it's a white grape or white wine, I'm thinking of something nice like a crisp chilled Chenin Blanc. And if you're South African, it is mandatory to put an ice cube or two in your Chenin Blanc as you're sipping it, trust me. A very rich history and culture. There are 11 official languages in South Africa. That's a fair few if you think about it. 9 amazing provinces as well. You won't need to remember the names of all the provinces for your clients won't ask for a test, don't worry too much. 26 years of democracy for everyone in South Africa. So if we're talking about history, an extremely rich history. We're talking about ancient history. We're talking about modern history. We're talking about everything there. With the end of apartheid, as of 1994, the Rainbow Nation came into existence as the country that we know of today. And of course, the good thing is with South Africans are very open about the past. You can talk about everything. And of course, it's a good chance to learn about what happened in the past in order to understand what is happening today. And of course, looking forward toward the future as well. With 11 official languages, you can imagine just how many cultures there are around as well. You've got the Xhosa culture, which is down the southern end of South Africa. You've got the fantastic, magnificent, and fierce Zulu culture, which goes pretty much all up and down the eastern side, anywhere from Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, which is the Zulu Kingdom's province, all the way into the Drakensberg, Ukahlamba mountain area. Some fantastic, brilliant areas around there as well. And a lot of coastline, if we're talking about the water there. You might have heard Felicia and I discussing how it is winter down in the Southern African countries at the moment, but it's still not quite as cold as it is here, which is quite a good thing. And going up and down the coast on the eastern side, you're looking at the Indian Ocean there. And that means it's warm water all year round. So your clients can have a fantastic beach holiday, white sandy beaches that extend for miles and miles in South Africa without having to go too far out, which is brilliant. I might pop on to the next slide there, Stu. Thank you very much. I forgot, when I say next slide, I mean these planes just here, folks. So it's important to see where you can fly into South Africa. We mentioned an 11 to 12 hour direct flight, but that plane sitting right up the top there, very close to where you can see the city of Pretoria, one of the 3 capitals of South Africa, also very close to Johannesburg. OR Tambo International Airport by far is the busiest airport in the country, both for destination and for transit. So a lot of your clients will be flying into OR Tambo Airport. Right down in the southwestern corner there, this is the fantastic mother city of Cape Town. You've got direct flights going down there once again very shortly with British Airways, which is good. And then here's hoping our direct flights start back up with Durban as well. But overall, these are the 3 main gateways into South Africa. We're talking value for money, folks, as it stands, although it's a bit tough to head down there and enjoy yourselves. It's not too far off what it was pre-pandemic as well. 21 Rand to the pound. Let's put that into perspective there. You've got some fantastic culinary dishes that you can see just here. If we look in the top left-hand side here, this is something that's very common throughout Durban and the province of KwaZulu-Natal and overall in South Africa too. This is called a bunny chow. And you can see it's a piece of bread on top of another piece of bread, but it goes a bit further than that. So there's a very heavy Indian influence in parts of South Africa, and in particular, the city of Durban, due to history, of course, and one of the many reasons why South Africa is called the Rainbow Nation. A lot of people of Indian descent make this today, and it's curry inside a hollowed out loaf of bread. And once upon a time, this was much easier for people to be going to work on the fields and in the mines and things like that. And they could carry the curry in the bread. They would toss the bread away afterwards, but they had something to take their food in, which was very, very important. If you're anything like me, by the way, I will eat this entire thing. I usually regret it, but it's very delicious at the time. So, quite handy. Of course, we've got fantastic wine in South Africa. If we're going along clockwise, this is just one of the many places, not just in Stellenbosch, but the Winelands region in general. You've got Franschhoek, you've got Pau, you've got Wellington, you've got so many beautiful areas there. And then right in Cape Town as well, only a 15-minute drive out, you've got Constantia. So there's plenty of wineries around that particular part of South Africa. Also in our Northwest province, our Northern Cape and the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal has a few small wineries as well. So it goes a little bit beyond that, which is good. But when we are talking for that value for money, a fantastic red bottle of wine like the Grenache Noir just here, this is going to cost you about £7. This is top quality stuff, and £7 is pretty good. I can't stress enough how amazing it is once your clients hit the ground running. And a really good tip that we tend to give to the trade is if your clients are a little bit worried about the cost adding up on their trip down to Southern Africa, tell them not to worry, because although the accommodation might be fantastic luxury style accommodation, we've got stuff that's suitable for all budgets, of course. But once they hit that ground running, they'll be spending a very, very small amount indeed, which is very good. Let's switch on to the next slide there. Fantastic. So folks, that was just a very brief overview. I'm going to pop back in when Stu starts talking about some of the products, G Adventures more specifically, and that way we'll have a chance to talk in depth about some of the cities such as Cape Town. I know Johannesburg's going to come up for a bit of a mention, and of course we'll hear a bit more about Zimbabwe then as well. But getting into contact with us is quite easy. I'm going to pop these links in the chat box in just a moment as well, but you can follow us on Twitter, SAT UK Island Travel Trade. You can go straight to our trade website as well, which our colleagues have been working very tirelessly on over the past couple of months, making sure everything's all up to date. This is also the best place to find the most up-to-date COVID information for South Africa, entry requirements, all that sort of stuff as well. You can watch us on our YouTube, visit South Africa UK. You can email me. My job is to make sure you guys are comfortable with talking to your clients. So I'm here for the trade. So please don't hesitate to email me at any time, stephen@southafrica.net, and you can see our Facebook page here. But as I said, I'm going to mention those links in the chat box very shortly. But thanks so much for listening to me. I'm going to hand it over to Felicia now.
Thank you very much, Steve. I'll, just like South Africa, I will also showcase to you our video. The Zimbabwe Tourism Authority initiated this video, Zimbo, to promote domestic tourism and regional and reaching out to the international market. So it's just a short clip, and these are the links that you can access information on Zimbabwe, especially our website, zimbabwetourism.net. There are other links, but these are the main ones. So please go ahead, Stu.
Zimbo! Travel is Zimyako, powered by Zimbabwe Tourism Authority, Zimbo.
Thank you very much. The video showcases Zimbabwe and how beautiful, safe destination to visit. Zimbabwe is a love song. Whenever someone visits and experiences Zimbabwe, they want to talk about it, they want to share, they showcase. It's a beautiful country that anyone is welcome to visit. You as the trade, you should be happy to just package put Zimbabwe together. I'm not going to go through reading what I have online, but it just showcases to you our position in Africa and in where South Africa is. Zimbabwe is a hub where you can actually station your company. You don't always just have to be in the UK. You can actually bring your business to Africa and combine South Africa with Zimbabwe, Mozambique. We are in an ideal location. Next one, please. Harare is our capital city, but I'll just cruise through. I want to talk about our latest city, Victoria Falls. This city has been declared as the hub for offshore financial service. The next one, Bulawayo, the city of Kings, Mutare, where I was born, and Victoria Falls is our latest city, which has been declared as the offshore financial service as an incentive to lure investors to Zimbabwe. And the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange is there, and the love song of Zimbabwe, the wonderful, peaceful people, is part of our 7 wonders. And number 1, our culture, our food, our music. Next one, please. Responsible tourism. The Zimbabwe Ministry, National Parks and Wildlife have been visiting the whole country to try and identify sites and villages to bring our story, the story of Zimbabwe out there, and the true story of what Zimbabwe is all about. And this year, with the COP26 in Scotland, and working with Stu at G Adventure, who promotes sustainable tourism, focusing on communities, benefits for tourism, focusing on schools, and uplifting communities is what is G Adventure's main concept. And Zimbabwe, we have this in abundance. Our culture, our people. You can actually identify a school kid in their uniform. As you travel around, you see them. It's just a peaceful, welcoming destination. Next one, please. You have dance, music, traditional dance. It's within us as Zimbabwe, wherever we hear our music, and we extend this to our visitors, international, local, or even in the region. You just hear the drum, you just want to be part of it. This is why Zimbabwe is a love song. Next one, please. Next one, please. Yeah. Marimba, our most wonderful, friendly, hospitable, welcoming people. And through these traditional dances, Zimbabwe has earned recognition from international awards just because of the unique culture that we offer to the world. Our food. You know, in 2019, we took a group of UK trade to our annual event, Sanganai, and many of them wrote vegetarian, vegetarian, vegetarian. But when we arrived in Harare at the Rainbow Towers and they were offered T-bone steak, all that vegetarian was forgotten. Zimbabwean beef is one of the best in the world. And some of our food, if you go to Sainsbury's, Tesco's, and even our fish, tilapia, you find it at Marks and Spencer's. Zimbabwean food is heavenly. You just have to go there and taste both continental and traditional food. High tea, we offer variety. Our hotels offer, it's up to you in your pocket how much you can spend, but we offer everything for the international visitor as well as the local. Zimbabwe has got its own beer as well, Zambezi beer. You just buy it. When it's finished, you go to the Zambezi River and just fill it up again. The Bushman Rock is just a stone throw from Harare, and here there are a variety of activities. They grow their own wine. You can taste the wine, you can go horse riding, conference, events, everything. That's from a stone throw from Harare. And if you are stopping over in Harare, you can actually go there for the day. There are varieties of curios all over the country. Some of them, you see them by the roadside, others in shops or shopping centers. So it's always easy to take something home. And we have also high-end jewelry, which you can buy even from eBay or made in Zimbabwe. Thank you. And Shona sculpture, that's something art that comes from within you. As you travel around the country, you see balancing rocks all over the country. So people, it's a collectible but delicate item, which you can keep as a memento or give it as a gift. Thank you. The next one. Yeah, pottery, especially in Bulawayo. When you take your clients, you can visit all these places and see how these things are actually made. And then your clients can actually buy some of these things for themselves or gifts to pass on to their extended families. The majestic Victoria Falls, Mosia Tunya, the smoke that thunders, is the icing on the cake. Not just for Zimbabwe, but for Southern Africa. And the city of Victoria Falls International Airport now can hold big body aircraft. So it's seen as the new hub for Southern Africa. Okay, yes, now we are working with South Africa, there's Cape Town and Joburg, but hey, be careful, Victoria Falls is coming hot. It's coming hot. And that's the mighty Victoria Falls. The beautiful sports that you can watch the Victoria Falls are all based in Zimbabwe. Let me show you the next map. You see, there are 17 points that you can look at the Victoria Falls. The main ones all are based in Zimbabwe. And in Zambia, sometimes it's getting drier. But in Zimbabwe, all year round, 365 days, it's beautiful. Main time when the falls are full, January, February, March, April is the best time. Different activities for any type of body. People actually say Victoria Falls is the adrenaline city of Africa because here you can do activities from just relaxing, walking with the lions, and then rafting, Flight of Angel, highly recommended because the views from up there are just unbelievable. Yes, I've just been rafting. That's why I'm sitting here talking to you. So it's your turn. I'm yet to go down there. We'll meet over there in Victoria Falls, down the gorge, hiking. It's a lifetime experience. Bungee jumping, not for the faint-hearted, but there are a variety of activities as well, zip line, goat swing in Victoria Falls. Again, Flight of Angel to soothe just the mind and soul. There's no substitute to this experience. You have to include it in your packages. It's just amazing. You can't talk about Zimbabweans without talking about our rich history and heritage. Zimbabwe, from the people who fought our first liberation, Sekuru Kagui, Ambuya Nehanda, Sekuru Mapondera, in the first Chimurenga in the 1890s, which was followed with the second Chimurenga in 1965, and then 1980 when Zimbabwe got its independence. We give our thanks to all these people who died to make us free and be able to enjoy everything and who we are today. Thank you. Next one. The Great Zimbabwe. Whew. I see that many tour operators in the brochures, they give it 2 hours. No. You need a whole day. You need to reminisce. Take your time, early morning, sunrise, just get the feel. Even the Queen Mother visited with the Princess Margaret, Queen Victoria, Queen Elizabeth II, Princess Diana, they've all visited. So you can actually be inspired to follow their footsteps and also put packages to include the Great Zimbabwe, a World Heritage Site, 800 years, made without mortar. And not far, there's also places like the Morgenster Mission where you can visit, join the school, meet the students, support, and not so far away, there's another lake, Kokwemkosi, where Zimbabwe is initiating opportunities for development in that area. So it's an exciting part of the country. Thank you. My home, the mystic of the Eastern Highlands. This is where I was born. That's Mutarazi. They call it the Switzerland of Africa because of the weather is nice and cool. The food is fresh. You can go for a walk. You just relax. So your clients who've been to the Victoria Falls can now have a second visit to this area of the Eastern Highlands, Kimani. I know G Adventure are quite excited by that part of the region. So different activities that you can also do in that area. And there's variety of accommodation. Next one, please. That's the accommodation in the Eastern Highlands and the activities that you are able to do. Thank you. You can't speak about Zimbabwe and not talk about the wildlife, which is the other main attraction for our tourists. And the national parks are all over the country, so much that from a stone throw from where you fly in, from Bulawayo, Harare, Victoria Falls, in less than 2 hours, you'll begin watching peacefully. It's not crowded, just you and your family, or just you as a group. The Big Five, it's magical. Zimbabwe is magical. You just have to visit. You just have to package the Big Five. And you can combine it, Victoria Falls with Hwange, or you can combine Victoria Falls with Manapus. I will share with you the routes that you can use while in Zimbabwe. Next one, please. The mythical Kariba, another area of interest for tour operators to package. Normally they include this Kariba with Manapus. It's a beautiful place. You can go, they have tiger fishing annually. You can go on a cruise. You can do canoeing, variety of activities. And you can fly into Harare on charter flights, fly to Manapus, connect with Victoria Falls. It's quite easy to build these packages. And there's bird watching, walking safaris, anything that you want. And on average, you need probably 3 to 4 days, including transport. How do you get there from the UK, from Ireland, from Europe? If South African, I beg your pardon, Ethiopian Airlines and Kenya Airways, they fly from London either via Addis or Nairobi into Victoria Falls, or you can fly British Airways into Johannesburg, Cape Town, and then connect into Zimbabwe. And then regionally, within Zimbabwe itself, we have our national airline, Air Zimbabwe, as well as other airlines that you can connect within the main cities. Those red lines you see are highways that connect from one city, town. So it's quite easy to travel around Zimbabwe. You can even hire your own car, which is flexible so that you can stop from one place to the other. So those are some of the international connections from as well as regional connections within Zimbabwe. Where do you stay? We have variety of accommodation from backpacking to 5-star accommodation. Again, it depends on the packages that you want to put together for your clients. Everything that you need, we have. More on accommodation, national parks, high-end camps, lodges, we have in Zimbabwe. Nightlife, it's everywhere. In Harare, towns and cities, Victoria Falls, you just have to ask your hotel where you want to go. And in Zimbabwe, people are peaceful. You can go out at night to a nightclub, enjoy yourself, and go back to your hotel without any problems whatsoever. In fact, they will be wanting to chat to you just to check where you are from. So it's very peaceful. We also have festivals and events that we hold annually. Next month, July, just before that, here, these are some of the varieties: Harare International Carnival, Jacaranda Festival, sporting events, Victoria Falls Carnival. So the year, it depends. Whenever you want to travel, there's something happening in Zimbabwe. And next month, we are hoping to host a live event from 20 to 23rd in Bulawayo, the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, where all businesses of any kind from the world are welcome. Come to Zimbabwe and see what's on offer. Join in, invest in Zimbabwe. Please save the date. We also have our own tourism annual event. We are hoping to host from 16 to 18 September. Keep looking on our website and checking on updates. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everyone on the platform will be able to join us in Zimbabwe. Next one, please. This one is a new event which is going to take place in December from the 1st to the 31st. It's another event that you can package within your programs for Zimbabwe. And we are again hoping that by this time, travel in and out of the UK or Ireland or Europe, people will be able to travel freely and be able to join and just use some energy and dance in Zimbabwe. Often people ask, do I need to get a visa to travel to Zimbabwe? For UK and Ireland, you get your visa on arrival in Zimbabwe. You do not have to apply online, but sometimes some people say, oh, I need to have mine. You can apply online, you are given a reference number, and then with that reference number, when you arrive in Zimbabwe, then you can pay for your visa. But otherwise, UK, Ireland, you don't need a visa. The air travel COVID-19 updates, we encourage you as travel trade to always check what the airline requirements are, check what the destination requirements are. But for Zimbabwe, all visitors, including adults and children, you need a 48-hour PCR certificate to be able to book a flight for Zimbabwe. But please always check before you do your booking. Zimbabwe awaits you. We can't wait to welcome you, especially what Stu is going to put together for us, combining South Africa and Zimbabwe. I'm over the moon to have this platform with South Africa and G Adventures. Remember, Zimbabwe is a love story. Everyone who goes to Zimbabwe loves and wants to go back. We await you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Felicia. Thank you, Stephen. I'm sold. I mean, I've been to Victoria Falls. That's, I have to say, that's all I've seen of Zimbabwe so far. But yeah, I'm sold. I want to go and see more now. I had to do a bit of research for the Zimbabwean part of this presentation. And yeah, I'm definitely going to get back out there one day. So over to me. I'm Stu from G Adventures. That's me there. And I joined on the call, although hiding and answering questions. We've got Jane Lambert, who's our global purpose specialist, and also just to introduce Amanda's on our marketing team, should there be anything that you'll need. So I'm going to take you guys through one of our trips that encompasses both South Africa and Zimbabwe, but a couple of other things just to get started quickly. I'm sure you know about this, but we've got 50% off for agents. We also have discounts for trade as well. So Stephen, Felicia, if there's anything you'd like, anywhere you'd like to travel, there's some discounts for you. So get in touch. I probably can't do better than you can in South Africa and Zimbabwe, but I could try.
Remember, I work in the embassy. We have to bring everyone.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm going to end up running a trip just for you guys. So 50% off, book anytime. So, you know, I know that you're obviously been very tough 12 months plus, more than 12 months for everyone. But if there's a trip you want to book for next year, anywhere in the world, do get in touch. We've got some great deals. I mentioned at the top end, just at the start of the presentation, just to say we're running trips now because we know that that's not the norm really globally. We've run 130 trips at least since mid last year. Fortunate enough, we've been able to run Greek sailing, Mont Blanc, Costa Rica, Morocco, Egypt. We ran Kilimanjaro with a actual proposal at the top in early January, which I think is a nice way to ring in 2021. And the trips that we're running in July, right there at the top in yellow, you'll see includes South Africa. So really excited to be going back to South Africa. I had a look at who's booked because that's probably going to be our next question. Hang on, Stu. The British can't get out there. It's a bit hard for the Irish to get out there. Who's going on these trips? A couple of the trips that I had a quick look at had some Americans on them because United Airlines has started their flight again from New York out to, I think it's Cape Town or perhaps Johannesburg. So if you've got American clients, they've got a lot of confidence. They may well be booking at the minute. And of course, as soon as we can get out there, whether it's on the green list or you've got people willing to isolate, etc., quarantine, then yeah, we're excited to get back out to South Africa. A couple of other places there we're running, obviously Iceland, Mexico, US, lots of different destinations that we're traveling to, which is really exciting. So let's do a quick elevator pitch for G Adventures. Who are we? We're the biggest independent adventure travel company in the world. We pretty much travel everywhere. And of course, all these countries are coming back online as we can travel to them. So the likes of Australia, of course, the Australians aren't traveling much at the minute and people can't get out there. But yeah, this is where we were running all our trips in 2019 and have trips set to run over the next couple of months and next year. So what do we do? Well, we're a tour operator, but I think that missells us a little bit because we like to say that we do a lot less of this, which is a busy beach in southwestern UK last year at some point that I found online. Funny note, I don't know if you can see it, it says here, think twice, too busy, head home, save lives, which I just think is hilarious given how busy it was. So we're not about the busy beaches, we're not about the crowds, we're more about things like our Thai sailing, which only takes 12 people, just to give a quick example, you know, of trying to show two different sides. On the whole, we do small group adventures, maximum 16 people on most trips, although they most run with an average of 12. And we have a new plus collection where it's 12 maximum. But as Felicia has kindly mentioned, responsible travel is key for us. I can't go through over all our initiatives, but it is incredibly important to us at G Adventures. That's kind of a founding principle of what we stand for. And just to give one quick example, we have a score for every single trip. You'll find it on the website or in our brochure. Our brochures are available actually if you want to order them on TradeGate. We've got one brochure that we can send out to you. But we attach a score to every single tour, and that's how much money stays in the local economy. So we've actually put a number on it. And it's not a number of how good the trip is, it's just how much money finds its way into the hands of locals compared to staying at an international hotel chain or eating at an international restaurant, which means some of that money leaves and goes to investors or goes to foreign ownership. And for us, it's really important that when we build back and when we get traveling again, that we're getting money back into the hands of locals so that, you know, they can benefit. Because obviously we're all hurting because we've not been traveling, but equally all these people around the world that rely on tourism and people that come in and spend their tourism dollars on food and souvenirs and accommodation and everything, beer, on everything, that it finds its way back into the hands of locals. We've got a great video up on our website, so I won't play it now because I know Zoom can be a bit funny about videos, but Why Book Your Travelers with G? We're built to support local communities, small groups, which we know is already really popular. Kind of as we build back, people don't necessarily want to travel in really big groups. Locally based guides, really key, because no one knows Zimbabwe better than a Zimbabwean. You're not going to find me trying to lead trips around there. So, you know, it's always local is best. Lots of flexibility, freedom and fun. G for Good, which is our social enterprise, which I touched on briefly. And of course, we've got Book and Travel with confidence policies, which are set to get better shortly, actually. A whole bunch of different travel styles. Can't go over them all, of course, now. I'd be taking up too much time, but we have something for absolutely everyone, including mini adventures and private groups. But the topic of the day is Southern Africa. Got to be careful I don't say South Africa, because of course we're covering Southern Africa. And if I jump over onto our website quickly, I can see we have 53 different trips which visit South Africa and or Zimbabwe. So I'm not going to talk about them all, of course. Lots of different combinations we do there. The eagle-eyed might be able to see that, you know, it's 53 different combinations of trips. So whether that's people have got time just to see Kruger, or they want to see Kruger and they want to combine that with Victoria Falls, with Cape Town, maybe with Namibia, maybe with Zimbabwe, maybe with Zambia, lots of different combinations there. But the trip that I've chosen to take you guys through is, surprisingly enough, a bit of South Africa and a bit of Zimbabwe as well. So we're starting off in Cape Town, we'll go to Joburg, we'll go across to Kruger and the Kruger National Park region. We're going to go into Zimbabwe to the Great Zimbabwe National Monument, which I was learning about for this presentation and Felicia touched on before. We're going to go to a couple more national parks in Zimbabwe, and then we're going to finish up at Victoria Falls for bungee jumping. We're all going bungee jumping at the end. So this trip, look, it does have one full day in Cape Town, but as Stephen had mentioned, there's a lot of different things you can do in Cape Town. So it is advisable to arrive a few days early, especially if you plan on going out to the vineyards, doing a bit of exploring, climbing Table Mountain, you can see there, going down to the waterfront. I don't know if there's anything you want to touch on, Stephen, about kind of the key things to do in Cape Town if you got a few days.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if there's a few days that your clients want to have in Cape Town before they start on their fantastic G Adventures products, then Cape Town really is the perfect place to start. It's known as the mother city for the majority of South Africans. Historically, of course, it was the first place that was sort of permanently settled along that part a few hundred years ago. Within the city itself, obviously, we talk about South Africa being full of history and culture and fantastic food and wine, but that is absolutely the case right here in this city as well. Very metropolitan. We'll just start by quickly mentioning Table Mountain, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. And it's pretty impressive if your clients have a few days. I'd recommend going up to the top there. You've got panoramic 360 degree views all around, especially down into Table Bay, which just has such beautiful, unique views. On a really, really clear day, you can almost see all the way down to the Cape of Good Hope, the Cape of Storms. It's called a number of different things by different people. And of course, there's a national park which extends from Table Mountain all the way down to the end of that as well. So there are extended walks available, which is quite impressive. Getting to the top, that takes just under 10 minutes in a cable car, which is quite impressive. There's 2 that go in tandem, so they always pass each other. And each of these cable cars are quite large in area, which at this point in time, when it comes to social distancing, is quite a good selling point, I think. And it doesn't matter where you're standing on these cable cars, they do a complete 360 as they get to the top, which means with the rotation, your clients have the opportunity to see different views as well, which is just brilliant. I should probably mention that Cape Town is only a 2-hour flight from Johannesburg as well. South Africa is a pretty big country, but in comparison to Britain or the Republic of Ireland, it's bigger, but not as big as places like Australia, like Canada, the United States, where it takes 4 or 5 hours to fly from one side to the other. It's only a 2-hour flight from Johannesburg. And for that matter, most of our flights domestically are going to be about a maximum of 2 hours as well. So it gives you a bit of an idea. Your clients will have more time to do more things on the ground while they're there, which is handy. Robben Island is just a little bit out as well. It's only about a half an hour trip from the V&A waterfront, which is actually where this photo has been taken here, the Victoria and Alfred waterfront. Just a little tip for your clients: if they're going out to Robben Island for the day, they will be asked for passports. They're not going overseas or anything like that. They're not crossing international borders, but it is just a safety thing. So it's always handy to let your clients know. And once they head out to Robben Island, it's a very, very moving experience for your clients. So this was a political prison during the apartheid years. And this is where Madiba, of course, someone that is well known worldwide, Nelson Mandela himself, spent almost 20 years of his almost 30-year prison sentence stuck on Robben Island. You can visit his cell, but of course there were many people that were against the apartheid and the struggle for freedom that were based on this island. So you hear a lot more about other people as well, not just Mandela himself. You find out that there is an amazing penguin population there, as well as a tortoise population, go figure. But it's a very, very fascinating place. And I think one of the most amazing things that I find when I go to Robben Island is 9 times out of 10, you're actually guided by people that were prison inmates themselves. You're getting the stories essentially straight from the horse's mouth, which just adds a whole other layer of appreciation to the knowledge that's being handed down to you. With the Victoria and Alfred waterfront, it's one of many places to stay within Cape Town. This particular photo here, you've got shops, cafes, restaurants, entertainment. You've got an amazing museum. You've got the Two Oceans Aquarium there, as well as a small version of the London Eye, which gives you some pretty good views of everything around Cape Town too. Back to you, Stu.
Excellent, thanks, Stephen. And of course, I see Louise has written in the chat there, originally from Cape Town, Louise Walker, saying everyone should have a week in Cape Town at least. So, but yeah, by all means, if you can have a week, or if your clients can have a week, there's clearly a lot to see there. Now, because we've got one arrival day when you'll meet the group in the evening, so you can do anything you want that day. And on your first free day, again, the local guide, the CEO, can help arrange anything for you, whether it be an exploration of the Bokap neighborhood. You see the colorful buildings there, perhaps down to Boulders Beach with the African penguins down there. You'll find 3,000 African penguins. You can get quite close to them. It could be one of the many beaches as well. Or as Stephen mentioned, the Cape of Good Hope, the southwesternmost point in Africa, or maybe more than a day, especially if you're coming out a few days early out to the winelands. So on day 3, we're getting up early. We're taking that short flight, only 2 hours, as Stephen said, to get to Johannesburg. And it's here that we're going to travel to Soweto for a bicycle tour. We're going to go through that township on 2 wheels. We're going to cycle through, give an opportunity to meet some of the residents, see the sights, hear the music, even taste some of the homebrewed beer as well. We're actually also going to visit Vilakazi Street, if I'm saying it correctly, where Nelson Mandela used to live.
You are indeed. So Vilakazi Street is in Soweto. I mentioned it really briefly at the beginning. Soweto, which initially meant a southwestern township, was under the apartheid government racial segregation, but it doesn't mean any of that these days, which is good. Everyone is welcome down to Soweto. And Vilakazi Street is just simply the main street there. There's lots of dances. There's lots of amazing restaurants in Vilakazi Street as well for your clients to go and check out. And not only was Nelson Mandela's house there, where he lived once upon a time, but it's also the home of Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who's still alive and well and kicking along in his 90s now. He does spend a little bit of time there too, but that makes it the only street in the world that is the home to not 1 but 2 Nobel Peace Prize winners, and I think that's quite a fascinating thing in general. Soweto is certainly not the only thing to check out in Johannesburg, and trust me, it's more than just a stopover. Even if your clients are flying into Johannesburg to begin with, before heading down to Cape Town to begin this particular trip, I'd recommend checking out places like Marboneng. If you know London at all, it's sort of like the Shoreditch. If anyone's in Glasgow, it's like the West End there. It's the hip sort of place to hang out. Marboneng also has fantastic shops, cafes and restaurants. It's nice and safe and easy. You can can hang out there until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on a warm summer's night, having a few craft beers, which only cost about £2.50 equivalent, which is quite good. And just like places like Shoreditch, you see many people walk past with big hipster beards, and they know how to make good coffees as well, which is quite handy. Pretoria, one of the 3 capital cities, is only just to the north of Johannesburg. You can actually get up there by driving. Traffic's not always amazing, but you can also get there with a fast train called the Car Train, which can actually take your clients between OR Tambo Airport, Pretoria, and then also several different places within Johannesburg. I think the city of Johannesburg is a must-do, not only for the things that I just mentioned, but you've also got the Apartheid Museum, which is quite self-explanatory. You learn all about this particular struggle between 1948 and 1994, but of course, that's just simply when it was ratified. It was institutionalized for hundreds of years before that. And you learn about the fact that Mahatma Gandhi was a part of this movement. He spent a lot of his formative years within South Africa, and it affected all people from all different walks of life as well. Constitution Hill, an absolutely incredible place. You get some decent views around central Johannesburg, what we call the older part of the city, the central business district, which is spread out quite a fair bit these days. The Constitutional Court of South Africa. Although Johannesburg's a large city, it is not one of the 3 capitals, but it does have the Constitutional Court there. And it is also actually an ex-political prison, which is now where they house the actual court cases. Your clients have the opportunity to walk through there and see different things that arc back to that particular point in time as well. Plus, you've got the Cradle of Humankind. For anyone that's fascinated by human evolutionary history, going back a few million years, you've got a particular species of hominid or humanoid, upright hominid people, known as the Australopithecus. You don't have to remember that name, that's okay. I just tend to because I talk about it a fair bit. But they were found in many different places along the African continent, as well as Central Africa, where Lucy, the famous bones of Lucy, have been found, as well as just a couple of hours drive out of what is now Johannesburg. You can go and experience the entire human evolutionary experience there, which is quite cool. Thanks, Stu.
Cool, thanks, Stephen. That was a great overview. I learned. I've been to Johannesburg, not for long enough, apparently.
Loads to do.
So the next day, so we've got to Johannesburg, we've gone to Soweto, we've done that experience. The next day, we're heading out to Kruger, and we're heading out along the Panorama route, which is obviously a much larger route. And we're heading out to Kruger National Park. So it's an 8-hour drive. So you want to sit back, be comfortable, bring a book, maybe an audio book or some music to listen to. When we get there, we're going to dive into some local traditional dinner and watch a local dance performance as well. And then day 5, this is the big one. So we're actually going to go out on our full day wildlife drive in the Kruger National Park as well. And then there's actual optional kind of evening wildlife drive that you could do as well if you wanted to, if you hadn't seen all the animals, if you weren't fortunate enough. Although, you know, from what I've read about Kruger, you've got very good odds of seeing the animals, but of course, you know, they're wild. So the animals may be hiding from you, especially something like the leopard. So this is what an open top safari vehicle might look like. I'm sure you've seen these before. So you've got your scout, your guide, there's kind of on the front there, sometimes with the torch if you go out at night. I would recommend a night game, or I shouldn't say game drive, sorry, I think they're wildlife drives, because game harps back to when they were being shot. So is that correct, Stephen? We would say wildlife drive, I think.
Look, it's still okay to say game drive. Obviously, we know what the history is, but we certainly know it's nothing like that these days. Instead of pointing guns, you're going to be shooting your extended camera lenses at these animals instead. So it's fine to mention that. In fact, the Big Five are known as the Big Five because historically, the Big Five were the animals that actually were the ones that were likely to go for you if you were to point a gun at them. They were quite aggressive in that sense. I could probably understand why. I prefer not to have a gun pointed at me for no real reason except to have my head sitting on the side of a fire somewhere in a room. So that's pretty understandable, but that's where they got their initial names from. I am surprised that the hippo isn't included in the Big Five, mind you, because they can be a little bit aggressive sometimes as well. And that's why it's always important on game drives to be viewing these things as they are proper wild animals, as everyone can understand, from a distance or from the safety of an open top vehicle, because they view these vehicles as other animals and a part of everything. So it makes it for a very comfortable and safe sort of experience when you're doing game drives. I should probably just very quickly mention, oh, look at those elephants there. Isn't that beautiful? I should obviously just very quickly mention as well, Stu is going to talk very briefly about a particular reserve in a moment's time as well. And Kruger National Park is arguably the most famous national park in South Africa. It's pretty big, as I mentioned before, but it's always important for you to understand the difference between a national park and a private game reserve. Your clients will ask that from time to time. If anyone isn't aware, private game reserves are simply owned by either private individuals or enterprises, sometimes by the township, so they have a communal sort of background as well, which is quite fantastic. Whereas a national park is run by the government, whether that's the provincial government or the national government of South Africa. You'll go in, you pay your entry fee, you can drive your own vehicle or be driven around in, whereas a private game reserve, you're essentially weighted on hand and foot. It's a very different sort of experience. And most importantly, your clients have to put their backs into taking it easy. You can never guarantee to your clients, please never do that they'll see all the big five. But if it is a big 5 game reserve, just bear in mind that quite often the wildlife is a little bit more concentrated. And when I say that, I don't mean behind fences. We're still talking thousands of hectares, of course, but just gives you a bit of an idea. So there is a difference between national parks and private game reserves. Thanks, Stu.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. That does help with a little bit later. Just oh, and just want to quickly show you here's Zazu from Lion King. There you go. So of course, Kruger, home to over 500 species of birds, yeah, including Zazu. There you go. Now I'm sure you've heard from kind of a bit earlier or seen pictures that quite often the accommodation, if you see the words kind of canvas tent, it's not always, you know, the tent that you slept in at Glastonbury when you went that time or went away with the family. You know, there can be really nice accommodation that you'd expect in some of these locations. So just to touch on, I guess, exactly what Stephen has just said. So after we've left and we've had our experience at Kruger National Park, we're going to Letaba Ranch for a guided nature walk along the river there. So this is where your clients might think, well, hang on, I want to go to Kruger National Park, but there's also these wildlife reserves, these private game reserves that border the Kruger area. So yeah, the animals still roam free, sometimes I guess in smaller space compared to the Kruger area, but it's still a great chance to see animals in their natural surroundings as well. As I guess with most of these destinations, we're going to go out on a wildlife safari as well, an option at night to listen to the animals as they move along the banks of the river. So there's so many of these nature reserves that I mentioned to Stephen. I said, Stephen, have you got any pictures of Morning Sun Nature Reserve? And Stephen said, I don't know that one, which is no discredit to Stephen. It's just because there's so many of these. So the next day we're off to another nature reserve. This one does have some animals, but it's mainly about hikes in the surrounding South Pansang Mountains. And then we're leaving South Africa. We're going into Zimbabwe. So this day it's about 7 to 8 hours. Most of it is crossing kind of that border experience, crossing and making our way. And we're going to sleep that night at the Great Zimbabwe Monument. So we wake up and this is the Great Zimbabwe Monument, which I must admit, despite, you know, having been pretty well traveled and fancy myself quite good at a travel pub quiz, didn't know anything about this before doing the research for this presentation. So this is what Felicia touched on as one of the most important monuments in Africa. So shame on me.
Where our name comes, yeah.
Shame on me for not knowing
Zimbabwe comes from. The name Zimbabwe comes from.
Yeah, and that's the great enclosure according to the description. So we're then going on to Matobo National Park, so one of the national parks that Felicia spoke about. This one has some cave paintings you can see there. It's also got the grave of Rhodes, Cecil Rhodes, who founded the colonies of southern and northern Rhodesia, which were then renamed Zambia and Zimbabwe. So his grave is still there. I was reading that there are talks about trying to get his, because he's originally British, to try and get his remains returned, perhaps one day, but they are where they are at the minute. So yeah, chance to hike in the stunning landscape. You can hang out by the pool if you've had enough of walking and wildlife drives. But then there's a really fantastic experience here in Matobo to get up close tracking white rhinos. as well. And I did read, not to put a dampener on it, but I did read a couple of weeks ago, I think we lost the last northern white rhino, a bit further north, maybe in Kenya or Tanzania, but there are still white rhinos or southern white rhinos. So great opportunity to see those. Next national park we're off to, so about 6 to 7 hours, we're going to get to Hwange. Am I saying that right, Felicia? Hwange?
Yes.
Okay.
The home of Cecil's family.
Oh, Cecil. Yeah, of course, Cecil
Cecil
the
the
lion.
lion. Yeah.
Yeah, so Hwange, I'm reliably informed, is the size of Belgium. And there's certainly lots of elephants here. So you're looking at about 50,000 elephants. I don't know you can guarantee your clients you're going to see something, but you'd be pretty safe with elephants. It seems like, especially if there's 50,000 as well. Yeah, all right, guaranteed. There you go. You heard it here first. And then we're on to Victoria Falls. We're on to the Smoke That Thunders, which I know that Felicia kindly took us through. Just to touch on something that we've got, I spoke about G for Good. I spoke about kind of Planet Terra very briefly of what we do at G Adventures. We've built in an experience for your customers here, for anyone that visits Victoria Falls, where they're going to go to the Lusumpuku project. And this, I'll read from it because I want to do it justice. So, you know, Planet Terra, which is our nonprofit, our social enterprise partner, they partnered with 29 members of the Lusumpuku project to create a cooking demonstration and a meal for the travelers that visit Victoria Falls. We have a great video, which I can share with you guys afterwards. We know videos don't always play well with Zoom, but that, I guess, give you a bit of an idea. But the Lusumpuku project started as a cooperative rearing chickens, providing catering services for local churches and events, and the group's thriving with the task of creating a traditional meal, much like their mothers and grandmothers used to do, to prepare for international travelers. So travelers can get involved, help prepare the meal, they can see how the meal's made, and just all get involved. So it's a really great example. You know, we've got all these projects around the world, many of which could be a transfer service in India from the airport with female drivers to empower women over in India. There could be restaurants, there could be these different services that we have around the world. So where there's many different ways people can give back, what we choose to do is build it into the trip so it becomes part of the experience. And that means your customers aren't spending any extra money. They're not being taken to a location and said, oh, why don't you buy some souvenirs because that'll support these people. Instead, we build it into the cost of the trip. So it means that, yeah, it's a reliable source of income for these communities. So just a couple more pictures, I guess, of Victoria Falls. There's, of course, a lot you can see to check it out. And then you've, of course, I was talking to Felicia about this and saying, there's so many things you can do at Victoria Falls. And I said, oh, you know, you could do a cruise on the Upper Zambezi, but that's in Zambia. So that touched a nerve. You've got to be careful, of course, because we're talking about Zimbabwe today. But I did quickly want to just ask everyone if does anyone think they would go in Devil's Pool? So this is the Devil's Pool experience. It is in Zambia. I'm sorry, Felicia, but does anyone think they would do this? I think I would. Yeah, it's where you get to go into quite a small pool on the edge of Victoria Falls. So I mean, I'd love to know in the chat if people would do that. And then we're rounding out now. So this is the trip that we spoke about £2,000 land only, about 2,300 euros as well. And then just really quickly on how we can support you. We've got an image library with 8,000 images. Just sign up at brand.gadventures.com, all free. You know, you can type in South Africa and Zimbabwe and you'll get some of those pictures that I was using. Within our agent backpack, which is in our agent portal, loads of different training resources. We'll put this webinar up in there in a couple of days' time, things like that. And as with South African tourism, and as with Zimbabwean, we've got our own Facebook group. I imagine you might be a member already, but that's G Adventures UK and Ireland Agents of Change, which is a bit of a mouthful, but there's the name down there. If anyone did want to join that, keep up to date with what we've got going on. And just to say thanks, you know, from G Adventures, stay positive, test negative, which has been our mantra for a while now. And any questions on the G Adventures trips, of course, drop them in the chat or email us at outsidesalesuk@gadventures.com. I might end up with a flurry of emails of people saying, I'd love an agent discount, which is fine. You know, that's the email to contact us on. And just to say questions now, you know, that any questions we might not have got to in the chat, we'd love to answer them. We've run a tiny bit over. I think we went for an hour and we've gone for an hour and a bit. That's not too bad.
Not too bad at all.
Yes,
Just while some people are possibly asking questions. I've just mentioned as well that I think Felicia was just holding up a couple of bags there. We've got some goodie bags to give away as well. So for those of you that attended the webinar today, you will hear from us shortly as well. We're going to do a little bit of a draw, and we'll send an email to you if you're lucky enough to have received one of our goodie bags. There's some Zimbabwe and some South African goodie bags. They're full of lovely treats for yourselves too. Yeah. Doesn't look like we've got much in the way. Everyone's saying fantastic presentation. That's glad to. That's good to see, though.
I know.
We did record this.
Yes.
Oh, just to say, we did record the session, so we can send that out to you guys if you've got a colleague, or if you had to duck off and, you know, top up your water or take a phone call from a customer, things like that. Then you can watch it back to bits you might have missed, or, you know, little facts, things like that.
That's perfect. Nice and easy then. Brilliant.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Cool.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you very much. We'll wrap up. And yeah, anyone got any questions? You should have the contact details for all of us, and we'll be in touch.
Absolutely. Thanks, Stu. Thanks, Felicia. A fantastic day today.
Indeed. Thank you, everyone.
See you
Thanks,
later.
guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care.